Welcome to the 24th episode of the Purple, Yellow, Red and Blue podcast, a Portugal the Man podcast. On this podcast, I'm joined by a guest to talk about what's going on with Portugal the Man, new EP releases, updates, talk about live tour dates and where they're going, catching up with a guest, chatting about their love for the band, their experiences, and how they discovered PTM. Plus, we've got the song game at the end of the episode, try to trip out the guest. You can find this PYRB podcast up on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to Liam for helping out with the podcast artwork. I'm just tweaking around, trying to get the thumbnails to look a little bit better. He's helped me out with that. Thank you very much. My name is Mark, and my guest joining me today is.
Hi, my name is Dylan, and I've actually been on the podcast once before last year. And in terms of Portugal the Man, I feel like a bit's changed since then.
Welcome, Dylan. Yes, you're right. Quite a bit has changed. Quite a bit has changed for everyone, really, but including the band.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like another generation, a new time for them. Obviously, we're doing
Yeah.
a podcast today, kind of an emergency one, really, because of the shadow drop of the ULU Selects Volume. I can't say it. ULU Selects Volume 2. We'll call it that. Earlier this week, I'm gonna try and get this podcast out as quickly as possible for like instant kind of impressions, reactions, talk about the EP and what it means, and basically whatever comes of it. We've got some other bits as well to talk about, but yeah, that's kind of the plan. So this is kind of we are 26 hours post release of the EP, so our reactions are still quite raw, and we haven't like settled down with them. But I thought like initial reactions, let's get them good, and then next guest I get on, I can talk about the next, in a couple of weeks' time, and so on. Like I did with Chris Brack, I always asked about how they felt like every time. So, but yeah, how are you doing, Dylan? This fine Saturday
I'm
afternoon.
good. I'm good. I mean, main change since the previous episode. I finally got to see Portugal the Man live. Saw them at Byron Bay Bluesfest last year, and I have to say, probably the best live concert I've been to. And I've been to a decent amount now at this point. Managed to get 4 of their picks after the show.
Excellent, excellent. We'll be funny enough to talk about meeting the band. We'll be talking about that later with the community question. Got a fun one, but that's cool. It's good that you got to see them finally, because we were talking in the pre-show about like, oh, you were thinking about going and then not going, and then you couldn't, and then you could again, and it was like on the table, off the table. So, how happy were you to finally get out there and go and see
Oh,
them?
it was awesome. I didn't get to meet the band at the concert, but John did see me from when John saw me, like when I was like, because I was at the front and he was on the stage and he saw me and he noticed the hat and stuff. So that was pretty cool. They put on a fantastic show. They're way heavier live than in the studio, I'd say, and I'd say that adds to the performance.
A lot of fans have picked up on that as well. They are much better live. They get that little enhancement from it, and they're a lot more
Yeah.
performative, and their reactions, and they jam a lot longer, and it's really something. So glad you felt that as well, and they were on cue halfway around the world for them, or a little
Yeah.
bit less than halfway around the world. All right, but how about yourself then? How are you doing today? Are you
Oh, it's
on? You're coming up? You're in the winter because you're southern hemisphere at the
Yeah,
moment. How are you
we
dealing with
like
the?
just started winter. I mean, Australia, at least where I am, is definitely colder than New Zealand. Like a couple days ago, it was the wind chill brought it from 12 degrees Celsius to like 4 degrees Celsius, and so it's
Damn,
been a
that
bit
is.
cold, but it's been nice. I do like the drier air.
Yeah, you don't want like humidity, and it's definitely because
Yeah,
I'm the opposite. I'm ramping up to summer. Although I look outside and it's been raining on and off all morning because it's June in my country. It's just a yeah. This time last year I was probably like having a fan on too warm. This year it's pissing it down with rain outside. So never mind, we're here. But yeah, no. Hopefully you're doing well, enjoying the enjoying your June. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I want to actually quickly. We'll do a quick recap because sorry, because you previously mentioned you have been on before. We talked.
Yeah.
Can you remember what the main topic was of that episode?
I
What was like the
believe I
main?
can get that. Oh, it was about well, it was about thoughts on Chris Black, and then also because the Doubt music video came out, and the Anxiety Clarity music video came out,
That's right.
and at the
That's
yeah,
right. I'm just remembering that, and I think yeah, we were talking about PTM Hurdle at the time, which is now
yeah, Hurdle
that's
and
finished.
Framed, they both
Hey,
existed during that
yeah, that
time.
wild time. We talked about the spookiest song as well, actually, because I think
Yeah,
we talked about some Chris Black stuff. That was a couple of months after Chris Black had came out. Okay, so yeah,
yeah,
it's been about a year and a half, so things have some things have changed.
yeah.
As a little recap, do you want to go through talking about just kind of briefly like your introduction to the band and how
Oh
you
yeah,
discovered
sure.
them?
I mean, technically speaking, I said this previously. When I first heard "Feel It Still" all over the radio, that was my first exposure to the band, and I was quite sick of the song. I distinctly remember I was in the car with my mate, and I was about to comment on the song, saying, "Oh, I know this song. It's," and then he said, "Yeah, it's really good," and I agreed with him, even though I was about to trash on the song. But that's not how I got into the band because in 2021, my dad was listening to Evil Friends, having no idea who they were as a band, and was like, "Oh, this band's really good." And I listened to it, and I was like, "This is good." And then he like realized it. Well, we both realized it was the band that made that song that won a Grammy in 2017. And then I picked up a copy of Evil Friends on vinyl, and then it kind of just spiraled from there.
2021, you said Evil Friends, so that's when so you've been following
Yeah,
for four and a half, four kind of years then,
yeah.
or a bit
So
longer.
great. Like my only release album wise I've been around for is Chris Black.
Ah, you're a young and I forget how new you are to this. Wow.
Yeah,
All right, awesome. And what about like you said you went back and listened to Evil Friends then and some other tracks.
yeah.
Do you remind us on like
I mean,
favorite tracks, albums, that sort of
I
thing from them?
well, I'd say definitely the album I was listening to the heaviest when I first got into them was probably Evil Friends, and then of like a couple tracks off In the Mountain and the Cloud, Satanic Satanist. I mean, if I go to my actual Spotify statistics, interestingly enough, What Me Worry is my most streamed song of all time on Spotify,
Oh, really?
followed by Mon Jesus, People Say, and So American. Because I remember actually the first release I was around for was What Me Worry, this because as a new single, and I remember that. And that was like it released like a month or two before I joined the Discord, I think.
Blimey, that is that that feels like literally a year ago. It feels so soon ago that that happened. Wow. Gosh, yeah, that's coming up on 3 years old now. I'd have thought because What Me Worry
Yeah,
came out a year before Chris Black because they always do stuff around the
yeah.
summertime. So
2022, and there was the cat music video for it as well, and the normal music video.
the cat. Oh yes, that's yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. What Me Worry. Good track. Good track. Underrated. Like it.
Yeah,
Good little single. Uh, yeah, excellent. No, but yeah, like favorite track then, favorite album. Just give us a
I would
refresh or favorites.
probably say favorite album overall probably does go to Evil Friends, just because it's like the album that got me, I'd say, into the band. Favorite track that would probably be like either, I mean, Modern Jesus is definitely up there, Atomic Man, tracks like that, and then going into Sleep Forever and Once Was One are fantastic tracks. They're definitely up there. And then there's a track here or there from all their other albums as well. I'd say that are up there.
Oh, cool. We don't get a lot of love for Once Was One.
I
Doesn't
think
get out
that's
in the chart.
potentially quite an underrated track overall.
I think you might be right. Actually, it's Yeah, it's like the last track or the one of the penultimate ones on
Um,
there. I won't sing it,
yes,
don't
because
worry.
Sleep Forever, it's the third to last. Because
Third to
Sleep
last,
Forever
okay.
is last.
And then there's the Got It All remix as well, which is on
Oh, yeah, because the last three
top
tracks
forever.
are Once Was One, Share With Me the Sun, and Sleep Forever. Got It
That
All is the third track on the album.
there's a remix of Got It All on special editions by
Oh,
Bjorn,
is
I
it?
think.
I know. Ah. Oh, yeah, that's right, because I've got the 7-inch single. It's on the other side of that, I think.
Okay. There used to be a thing where you could online you could select which album, and the difference was that the remix would be at the end as well. So you'd go through like this really deep sleep forever, and you're like feeling real like empowered and emotional, and then this like electronic flute, and it's got it all, and you're like, oh, this kind of weird, really. It was like it definitely like like a track, like a B side or something. It's just funny that they tacked it onto the end instead of doing it as a single. But anyway, that's what it was at the time. But oh, cool. Most people we've had a lot of like Evil Friends or In the Mountain the Cloud as favorite albums, so you are in good company. Justin last episode actually big fan of Churchmouth, which
Oh,
I
nice. I'd
I
say that's potentially one that gets a bit less of the attention, I'd say.
I think it's an underrated album. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it misses too much early on. I think there's a good theme that kind of every track. There's a good core to it. I don't know. I just really
Yeah,
like Churchmouth.
it's a
Just
good
gets
album.
you
I'd say,
moving.
like with their early stuff, it's definitely heavier.
Oh, definitely, definitely heavier. Yeah, and I haven't actually listened to it in a little while, but that like opening of like uh, it's the first track called Churchmouth. No, it's called Sugar Cinnamon, isn't it? And that kind of roll from there. It's very punchy, very loud drums as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, love it.
I'd
Yeah,
say my favorite tracks on Church Mouth are probably Shade and My Mind,
I ooh, I quite like
which I
Shade
get
in
to,
my mind. I
ironically, I
don't.
probably, yeah, they're probably the least heavy or some of the lesser heavy tracks on the album.
I'd have to bring up the track list because I'm forgetting something. But Sleeping Brothers, Sleep is a good little track at the end, little underrated one. That's pretty good. Dawn is quite good as well. I like that. Kind of like the first six tracks actually really are quite good. It does drop off a little
Yeah,
bit towards the second half, but hey, that's going to be 20 years old next year, Dylan.
that's
Churchmouth is
crazy.
20.
What
No,
year was
wait, no,
Church
no, no,
Mouth?
hang
No,
on,
it was, oh,
no, hang
no,
on. That's '07. Way
oh,
too will be 20
almost.
years next year. Oh
That's
dear.
still crazy.
That means yeah, they've been writing and releasing music for over 20 years because obviously Anatomy of a Ghost is like '03,
Yeah,
'04 kind of era, '05. Yeah, 20 years old, Portugal the Man, Anatomy of a Ghost, that whole. John's been at it a long time.
yeah,
Yeah,
still
long
going
time.
strong.
Still going very strong. Yeah. How, we talked about it briefly. How has, you mentioned like a lot has changed, and you mentioned that beforehand that you'd moved previously from northern New Zealand to Australia
Yeah,
since we last recorded as well. Do you want to
yeah, I
tell
mean,
everyone what's. Because most people think, oh, they're the same country, but actually there is, what is it, a three and a half
yeah, I
hour
mean,
flight between them?
yeah, I think it's 3.5 hour flight for me from where I'm based now. I mean, it's definitely even. I think even I kind of had a misconception that Kiwis and Aussies were like the level of similarity that once you get down to it, they're actually, I feel like the people are quite different behavior wise, and the accent is quite different as well with the enunciation of like some words. I mean, yeah, I moved for like just family related stuff, and I mean, moved at the start of the year. It's been good. I'd say compared to Auckland, there's far more opportunity, like far more live like bands you can see, just because people actually come here versus Auckland, which is just that bit too small.
Yeah, it's that little bit too smaller, and the place you're in now as well. You're on mainland Australia. Like people do. do go there. There is a music scene
Yeah,
there as well. So it's no, it's cool. It's a change. You know, you're moving from a country that speaks the same language as well, but also you're moving to a
yeah,
country with like a really
yeah,
thriving music scene. So does that how's
yeah. I
that
mean,
feeling?
I've, it's been good. I mean, like I'll say it, yeah, I live in Melbourne, and that specifically, like, it's such a creative city, like, food wise and art wise, and it's just so diverse. There's so much to like do, and it's just far bigger. Like, it makes Auckland feel tiny.
Oh right. And what is it like three times bigger than Auckland? I'd say like population because
In
I think
terms of Auckland, as of like, I think it's got like, if I had to guess, probably 1.5, 1.6 million people, and then Melbourne is sitting at probably closer to like maybe like 5.2, 5.3 million people.
okay, okay. So yeah, you've probably never experienced traffic like that then before
Yeah,
in
not
being in a
really.
major
And the
city.
traffic wise, the trams add an interesting element to that.
Oh, was it a tram city? Okay, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you got trains, buses, and trams. It's a good city for
Lovely.
public transport.
Don't tell John Candy. Might make another film about it. Rest in peace. But yeah, just need the good airport and a taxi. Yeah. Oh, cool. But how's have you you said you've settled pretty well then. How was it being a
Yeah,
fan of because you're so far away from all these US based bands, as am I, and not everyone is coming into town, are they? Let's be honest. Like, there's a
no.
lot. I think you'll find basically post COVID, or in my experience, that a lot of these artists they'll do tours in just the US and Canada, maybe Mexico as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel left out a lot of the time because I'm like, oh, kind of missing out again. I don't know. How do you feel about it as well? Do you have the same
Yeah,
experience, or am I loopy?
yeah, I'd say so. It does feel kind of rough. Like I mean, the Bluesfest show that I went to at the start of like March last year is still, as of now, the only show they've done in like Oceania, like since like I don't even know when their last show was. It's yeah, it does feel. I mean, even with shipping prices here for like various merch items can be quite rough as well. And I've never met the only person I've met one fan of the band in person, like, and that was at the Bluesfest show. I'd say even
Oh,
in the
wow.
audience, that person and maybe one or two other people were actually fans of the band, and everyone was kind of just there because they were like, I mean, because it was a festival, and then the song with the most crowd singing was definitely feel it still. I mean, even during I
Oh,
think one of the tracks off Evil Friends, can't remember which one. I heard someone behind me just having a phone call.
oh, that's disrespectful. Got to turn it off for that.
Yeah.
So when you say like two or three other fans, did you mention there's like a sub like a hardcore fan base on the
Oh,
Reddit and the
I
Discord and
honestly didn't because I was kind of just more shocked seeing someone that was even like remotely into the band. I was talking to this guy and he got into them also because of Evil Friends. Like was hoping they'd play tracks like Atomic Man, which they did. But I didn't. I forgot to mention any of the social media aspects.
ah, could have got him in. Could have got him in. Never mind.
Oh,
No, it's cool. It's cool though
yeah, and
that,
I
that there
guess
was.
yeah. I
Oh,
mean, I
oh,
know, and then in terms of Australia, I guess there's also the connection because of Mackley Harriet, being their
yes, the
photographer,
photographer.
and
That's correct. Yeah.
yeah, and he also does photography for bands like King Gizzard. And I believe, if I remember correctly, watched the video on it. He's what told them about how, because in Australia as well, one thing I've found is there's a lot of acknowledgement of the Indigenous people. Like often before presentations, they'll say we acknowledge the custodians, and then they'll mention the specific tribe, and that's kind of what got Portugal the Man to start doing their land acknowledgements at their various shows.
Oh, cool. No, it's good. It's good that they went out there to the travel. They actually went.
Oh,
Oceania, and
yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, likewise, you mentioned about like the tribes and land acknowledgement. Um, yeah, it's good that they do that. Yeah, awesome because there are natives to Australia, and then there are the people that
yeah,
we shipped over there who were prisoners many years ago, or whatever that whole tale is. Wasn't me. Can't blame me. But yeah, what do you think about go back to you were born in England. We mentioned this before. Were you born?
yeah,
Is that correct? Yeah. But
yeah,
you moved to New Zealand when you were very young, so you
yeah,
kind of consider yourself as dual
yeah,
national or maybe New
yeah.
Zealand or
Well, I've got both citizenships.
oh, okay. I mean, one's worth a lot more than the other. At the moment, the New Zealand one's probably worth more at the moment than our one.
Yeah,
But
that definitely switched with like the England one used to be quite good until like, well, not to get too political, but like the Brexit stuff.
yeah, no, that's maybe things will change in that regard very soon. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't like to get political on here, but yeah. um, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the music scene in New Zealand actually? Because obviously, like you've got artists like Lord who are worldwide
I mean,
popular.
yeah, Lord is probably the predominant like major like singer from New Zealand, I'd say, like in terms of global reach. Like there's a few bands that are big, but mainly big within New Zealand. That's bands like LAB 660. Then there's also artists like Benny, and Benny's done stuff with people like I know she did actually a remix of one of his songs with Baby No Money. I know she did that at some point. Um I'd say there's a lot of smaller, like, there's a fairly strong, like, niche, I'd say, slightly smaller scene in terms of New Zealand music. I know a lot of people who are in smaller bands that'll play for maybe, like, more like 30, 40 people, just like that kind of size, and that's cool.
Yeah, I are is it Naked and Famous? Are they from New Zealand? I
Oh,
remember.
yes, the Naked and Famous, yes, they are. And then there's also, albeit they aren't around anymore, Kids of '88 did some stuff that got kind of big. Then I'd say obviously there are a couple artists like if you go slightly further back, like Crowded House, like Neil Finn. You can argue what you want, but I'd say they are. I mean, because of Neil Finn, I'd say Crowded House are a more New Zealand than Australian band.
Hmm.
No, that's a hot
Have
topic.
you'll always have the Lord of the Rings movies, so can
Yeah,
never
that's
take them
true.
away. Can never take them away, and you can claim to that soundtrack. I guess you could say that. But yeah, I think about like the Australian music scene and like how much it's been vital, like not vital but prevalent the last 15 years. Like I think about like all the
Yeah, I
artists
mean,
like they
Ta-
just keep popping up.
Tame
We mentioned
Impala,
King Gizzard,
like,
yeah, Tame
yeah,
Impala,
and Tame Impala.
King Gizzard.
There's
I think
people,
about Empire
and
of the Sun, which a lot of
yeah,
people
more pop.
think
There's like Vance Joy.
Vance Joy. Yeah, yeah. I'm impressed with it because it's really. I
Yeah,
mean, in terms of music in the world, it's America number one.
yeah,
What is it? I
I'd say
mean,
so.
UK probably number two because of Ed Sheeran, and it's holding
Yeah.
us up
I
quite
guess
a
I,
bit.
I guess also in terms of New Zealand music, I guess I could mention Flight of the Conchords.
I'm not familiar with them actually.
Um,
Huh.
like it's kind more comedy, like music, comedy musical, I'd
Comedic
say.
music. Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, even like people in Portugal, man, and in the Discord know who they are. People like Amy, and then there's Kimbra, who does the female vocals in Somebody That I Used to Know.
Oh, I forgot about Kimbra. I like Kimbra. She's good.
There's
Got a
also,
great
oh, I
voice.
mean, kind if oh, speak getting more back to Portugal, the man. I mean, you could kind of argue Unknown Mortal Orchestra, um,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
that's
I
true.
mean, albeit like they're based now in Portland, like, and I don't actually know if all of the members are Kiwi, but I know the like the front man.
Yeah, they were on Chris Black, weren't they, as well? With
Yeah, they did Summer of Love, I think.
some. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's more slightly more random ones like um the singer Rose or Rose, however you want to pronounce it, from Blackpink, was born in Auckland, but I don't really know if she like counts herself as Kiwi or what.
But I tell you what,
I don't think she
if
was raised here.
if we combine New Zealand and Australia, a lot better than a lot of other countries around the world. So,
I mean, yeah, I'd say there's definitely some strong talent between the two countries.
I mean, and then South Korea pops out of nowhere with J-pop, and that goes kind of worldwide in the last 10 years. I've noticed it's
K-pop's
different.
like take bands like BTS.
Yeah, yeah, they've kind of gone a little bit more mainstream in the last 5 to 10 years, and no credit to them. It's a worldwide thing. We had Eurovision a couple of weeks ago, but I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah,
I couldn't
I
tell
didn't
you who
follow
won.
that personally.
I
Neither.
haven't watched it since that woman with the moustache was on it, or the facial hair. Yeah, I no interest in it at all. We should win that every year, and we don't. But hey we just put someone boring out. Come on, liven it up. All right. If you're all good with like the catch up, Dylan, we've actually got a couple of news topics I'd like to attend to. We've had a couple of things happen recently with the band, and I should rephrase that. They've been touring a little bit in slightly different places around the world. They've been venturing, not just to Bluesfest, but some other countries as well. And I just recently, the last couple of weeks, couple of months, I've noticed they've been tacking on different countries around the world where you wouldn't normally expect to see them. So, at the time of recording, it is June 7th. So, on their website at the moment, we've got June 21st, the Hamilton Stadium, Hamilton in Canada. August 2nd, Pickathon, Oregon. August 8th, they are in Portugal. Yes, the country, not the band. They're actually in Portugal, which is it's kind of mad. In Europe again.
Yeah,
close.
Portugal the man, and Portugal the country.
Portugal the country. They are collabing. 3 days after that, they're in Budapest, Hungary, at the Sziget Festival, August 11th. And then 3 days after that, they're back in Portugal. They couldn't get enough. Let's go back, Dylan.
I didn't realize there were 2 shows in Portugal.
Apparently, there are 2 shows according to their website, which cannot lie because they're selling tickets, and that would be bad. So they're selling it at the Parades de Cora Festival. That is the 14th, and then they've got 8 days off between that and their next show in Switzerland, Zurich. Oh, God, I literally, it's literally just gone out of my brain. Daniel Troyer, that's his name. I had to look that up there for a second. Yeah, Daniel Troyer. He spent some time in Switzerland, in Austria, up in the mountains. So maybe he'll get to go and catch them.
That's cool.
He loves living in nature. He is the chap who rode his bike from Los Angeles to New York and then back again in 7 months.
That's quite the journey.
It took him a while. He did take a few days off in between, but yeah, just rode his bike all the way through, and then through the harsh conditions of the summer, and then the winter, and then dealing with everyone across the place. Shout out to Daniel. Sorry, I completely forgot his name for a second there. So yeah, that would be cool. Going back to the back in Switzerland, and then about 2-3 weeks off, September 13th, they are playing the Harvest Music Festival in Fredericton, Canada. So quite a few, only one show in America out of 7. Yes, 6 or 7. So it's good to see them diversify. No England show though, unfortunately, and hopefully they get to Oceania once again. They'll do Auckland now that you've left. Now you watch. That's exactly where they go.
I'll go back for that. I will
go back for that.
Okay.
But I am missing off one date at the bottom, Dylan. The cruise.
The cruise, yeah.
The ice cream floats Modest Mouse cruise in February next year from Miami to Puerto Plata uh, in the Dominican Republic, I believe. That's what I want to say. Yeah, so for a 4 to 5 day cruise where they'll be playing shows. I think they're actually taking a little holiday, to be honest, Dylan, with you. I think that's kind of more what it's for. But no, it's pretty cool. I think a few people in the Discord and the Reddit community, the hardcores, have been like, "Man, how can I get to? Can I get a tour in? Can I get a cruise in early February? try and squeeze one in there." So yeah, I think actually it's pretty cool. Actually, some tour
Would be pretty
updates for
sick.
everyone.
I'm not the
Yeah,
biggest cruise ship person, but I definitely make an exception for that.
I'm not a big cruise guy either. I've never done one. My parents have done them. They're much older, clearly. But no, I want to do like city breaks and like beach holidays first. Like the idea of being not cooped up on a boat, because I quite like boats. I don't know about you. I quite like a bit of sailing.
Yeah,
But I
I
don't know if
like
I'd
being
want
on
to. I don't. At the
water's
end of the day, I'm
nice.
like, all right, back to land. They'd be
Yeah,
like, back on the boat. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah. Hope they have a good time. Hopefully, some people get to go and like catch up with them and spend some time with them. That'd be pretty cool. Hey, a cruise. Fuck it, why not? Someone's got to, there's got to be entertainment on there. So why not
yeah.
them? Why not them?
Might as well make it the best band in the world.
Might as well. So that covers North America, Central America. I don't know if they've been to South America in a little while. Can't remember. I think they did do one. They did do a show last year down there. I can't remember.
Um, in 20, yeah, I can't remember.
I feel like there was. I'm forgetting it. There was definitely like one or none.
Was there? I'm looking at their stats based on Stats FM. Last year they did 53 US shows, 2 Mexican shows, and 1 Australian show, which was
Okay,
the
they did not do
show at
South America. Okay. I thought for some reason I thought they had done, but Central America's North America. They would have done Europe. They would have done Oceania. You know, when's the trip to
yeah.
Japan, lads?
Oh, that
When's the trip?
Portugal, the man, Japan would be cool.
Portugal, the man in Japan. That's got to. There you go. That's the title. You got to go there now. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're so North American centric that it wouldn't make sense. But like, imagine them doing a show in like Africa. Like,
That would
I
yeah,
just
that
don't.
would that'd be pretty random.
I couldn't imagine that. Like, that's where would you even go? I don't know where they're popular. They must be.
Yeah, because albeit there was due to things like COVID, based on Stats FM, Setlist FM rather, from 2020 to 2023, they only played in the US and Canada.
Also, they had stuff with Francis as well. They probably didn't want to be too far
Yeah,
away from hospitals that
2 on
speak
the
the same
move. Yeah,
language. Yeah, no, that makes sense. But now they're like, oh, we'll go to Europe for a couple of weeks and
yeah.
squeeze in a
So
UK show. Yeah, so I thought unless you have any final thoughts on tour dates, where would be like a random, where'd be a cool place for them to go? Obviously, where you live now, but I'm just thinking like continent wise, like could they tick off all the continents, go and play in all of them? I don't know if they've ever played in Asia or Africa. Maybe we'll
um,
have to get to that one day.
I would if there was gonna be a time, it probably would have been like um during like their world tour on the back of
Hmm.
like Woodstock and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because they definitely have
But
fans all over the world now because of their humongous popularity.
oh
Although
yeah, they in 2018 they did 2 shows in Japan.
they did do 2 shows in Japan. Okay, okay, that's good. They have
Summer
they've ticked
Sonic
off Asia.
Tokyo and Summer Sonic Osaka.
Well, I hope they had a good time and I hope they made some friends out there. Oh, awesome!
Yeah, it looks like
Glad to hear.
2017 and 2018 are probably the most global um years, like in the band's history in terms of like most countries visited in a year, albeit 2014 was surprisingly up there as well, where they played their first New Zealand show, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow, you would have been
They played
5 years
it.
old then. Wow. Nah,
I was in
joking.
2014. Yeah, okay. They played it Big Day Out. There's one like 20-second clip, and that's all I found online about that performance.
Oh wow. Oh well.
They did 8
Hopefully,
songs.
did 8 songs. Did a small set. Okay. Okay. They must have. Yeah. I mean, 2017-18 makes sense. Obviously, that's the Feel It Still effect, and
Yeah,
yeah, post then, COVID and France's stuff. So we'll
yeah,
see. But they're venturing out more, so that's good. Hopefully, they come to a town near you. There we go. All right. So yeah, just a quick update on some of the tours because there's been new dates added, and they're going to start hitting that stride. I would have thought very soon. That first date on June 21st. So yeah,
yeah. Got a
awesome.
wider range of songs to play now with the EP.
Yeah, they're probably going to play some. That's interesting actually. Do you think? Because I've heard that Viz has been played a little bit live.
It has it was played at the Save the LP thing, I believe. And then I don't know where else it's been played.
I've definitely talked to people who have I've heard fractures of High Viz or Graveyard as it was previously known being
Yeah,
played previously in their circuit. So yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll see what ones pop out and are more popular, more fun for them to play, and maybe we'll start seeing them. You never know. Maybe one of
yeah,
those tracks will be the next Feel It Still. Who knows? Could be.
yeah.
Anything could be.
True.
Um. All right. Next thing I'm going to cover little bit of fun. A little bit of fun, Dylan. You like a little bit of fun? Community
Yeah,
question.
I'd say so.
I like to. I like to. I like to do these every once in a while. It's actually been a while. I don't think I've done one in a few months, but I was racking my brain. I thought, what can I do that I haven't asked before? Because I've asked some pretty bozo questions, and I thought, how about random places you have met slash seen a band member of Portugal the Man, and got a few writings. I thought we'd go through them just kind of funly, just skim through and read them. But thank you to everyone reading them as well. Reading them, writing in, I should say. Yeah, we'll put up. So the first one here, I'm going to search by new. No, we'll do by
If
top.
you sort by best, the top one, at least sorting by best, the top one is a copy pasta.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the Los Angeles one. I've seen that about a fair few different bands.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, right.
The cutting me off one.
Oh, I see. Is this like a story that's been told around then previously? I'm not.
I don't know. I don't even know where it originally stems from, but I've seen it like whether it's Tyler the Creator or like all sorts of bands. I've just seen that I saw insert person at the grocery store in Los Angeles one time, and then so on and so on. I have no idea where it came from, but I've seen it. Like I don't even know if the original story is real, but
I'll be honest. I thought that was a real thing. I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a meme essentially. Oh wow. So
I think
DGB Linden,
yeah,
thank you for posting that. Crazy. The same thing happened to me as well. Okay, I'll start off with Sounders fan 86. I'll start from there because that seems like the most legit one. I saw
yeah.
Carl attending a show
That's.
at. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
This is a legit one. Okay. I saw
Yeah.
Carl attending a show at WAMU. I don't know how you say it. I don't know. In Seattle. I work with an organisation that registers people to vote and have worked with PTM often, and he made a point to come up and thank us for being there. Oh, that's pretty cool. Nice
Oh,
to see
that's cool.
Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of Kyle
Yeah, because I
action.
usually feel like it's either like John, Eric or Zach.
The big three, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, next one by Mama Cross.
Fuck yeah, Fest Los Angeles in 2011. John, Zach, and Carl were just wandering around. They weren't performing at the fest. I said hi, told them how much I love the band. We chatted for a bit, and they were super cool. I mean, that sounds like from all the like in-person interactions I've heard about of people with the band, it does sound like they often are pretty happy to chat and just seem pretty chill.
They do, and especially with how much like the fame could get to their head, it clearly hasn't got to their like psyche of being able to talk to fans, which is awesome because the last thing you want is
Yeah,
like them just being a bit like, nah, I won't talk to you. Nah, I'm too busy. Kind of attitude. And these, they're busy. They've got things to do, but that's cool. We get I see a lot of comments about that and how nice they are. I'm looking forward to meeting them as well one day. And a bit like the Vents 2544, which is his pin number or theirs. Saw Kyle at Garden Fever in northeast Portland, NE Portland. I'm guessing that's what that
yeah, I
means.
think that's Northeast Portland.
It could be. I could be wrong as well, and that let's be honest, that's probably right. So, but yeah, no, another Kyle, another Kyle meetup.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they're based in Portland. I don't know if Kyle
Yeah.
lives there or Seattle. I always forget it's. I think most of them live in Portland. I know. I think Eric lived in Seattle, was from there, or not from there, but lived there for a while as well. I know they're right next to each other, but they kind of bounce between both of them. I think Kyle is out of Portland as well, just out of it.
Yeah, because I'm not 100% certain on the post, but if you Google Eric Haukright, I can see from his Instagram, the top thing is like, I assume the description of a post, and it says, here his candid backstory of growing up in Alaska before moving to Seattle and eventually joining Grammy Award-winning band PortugalTheMan. So yeah, Eric went from Alaska to Seattle,
He went from
and
Alaska
then
straight to Portugal, He didn't entertain those other bands in between, did he? Though I completely forgot all that bit. Yeah.
Mechid 97 by the looks of it. State Street in Madison. We took a picture in GameStop in front of a row of PS4 games. Good to see. I guess
Now,
they're covering ground out and about.
yeah, I don't know what are they doing there. What are they doing in there in a GameStop?
Yeah, maybe
That's
buying
rank.
a new console.
They could be, to be fair. It would have been brilliant if they were by like the pre-owned bit and there was like Rock Banded behind them. You could just see that, or Guitar Hero or something like
Maybe
that. That would have been.
maybe tell them to get a copy of The Sims 3 featuring a Simlish cover of a Portugal the Man. Oh, not really a cover, I guess, because it's by them, but Simlish version of a Portugal the Man song.
Oh, really? Is there a Sims? Is
Yeah.
there a song about them in The Sims? Okay, which one is it?
They did a Simlish cover. I think of everything. Kids Count Hallelujah.
Oh, Simglish. Right. Oh, okay. I thought you would.
Yeah,
Right. I
like
see.
in this,
But
in like Sim language, like
it's Sim language. Oh, that's right, because they
yeah,
bob their heads and then it's mumble jumble, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what you meant there for a second. I thought, is he all right? Uh, next up from Cerro X Valo, Utah, Chicago, Denver. Didn't meet John, but I walked right past him in the show in SLC. I was scared to talk to him. Ah, no, he's just got that aura. He's just uber popular. I get that
He's
completely.
too cool.
He's honestly, he might be. He might be too cool for school. Have you ever had that where you've like seen a celebrity or someone
Um,
famous and you're like too? Because I've definitely been there.
I mean, I haven't had that happen myself, but I mean, close. Actually, kind of. The New Zealand artist actually, Princess Chelsea, did a small like show for free outside a record store that I like, and we were able to buy a record and get from the record store and get it signed by her. But I bought my record and I went out, and my mate was buying his, but I waited around for him, and then he asked for me because I was just a bit nervous.
Ah.
And then
Oh wow.
that's about it. And I haven't really met a whole lot of celebrities. You don't really get that too much in Auckland.
No, I
Although
suppose
my
not. Oh,
my sister met Phineas in an airport lounge. My sister and dad,
oh, okay,
like
that's cool.
Billie Eilish's brother and producer, and that.
Where were they flying?
That was to come to Australia. Because Phineas
I
was
see.
playing the Australian leg of his tour.
The Australian leg. Wow, he's pretty
Yeah,
uber
he did a few
popular.
Aussie shows. Billie Eilish did as well. Like,
Well, yeah, she is pretty big to be fair. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, funny. I actually started listening to the Marias, they were like the opening act for Billie Eilish a couple of
Oh
years
yeah.
ago. I think like a year or two ago, and I was really enjoying it. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I'm looking at the views, and I'm like, pretty popular band. Like I've never heard of them, and then I didn't know about the Billie Eilish links, and now I'm like, oh, they might be too popular. They might be too popular for me. I need a more underground artist.
I mean, they've got
To listen to.
34.3 million monthly listeners.
Yeah, that's a
That's
good amount.
a fair
They're
amount.
doing well. I love what they're doing. Their two
Yeah.
most recent tracks are really good. They're brilliant. Yeah, I like the little Latin flair in the kind of lo-fi psychedelic music. It's yeah. Anyway, and speaking about like seeing people in public, I did see Warwick Davis once. He had two bodyguards which were twice as tall as him, either side of him, and it was like I don't think I want to approach him, to be honest. That was at a convention, but it was literally like as we were leaving, me and my group of friends, like we saw him going in like the other entranceway. Well, our eyes did not link or anything. They did not lock, not link.
I mean,
But yeah, I did
I
definitely. It was
guess in
definitely
terms
him.
that's cool. In a more event setting, I guess. I mean, I have a photo with David Williams because he did an
Oh,
event in Auckland, like probably like if I guess maybe 7 years ago, maybe.
I love David
Um,
Williams. It's really funny.
I've
Great
seen
impressionist.
a couple people at like various conventions, like speaking and that, like Bryce Papenbrook, who's a American voice actor. Like he does some English dubbing of anime, and then also his own like English shows. I saw. I can't remember who it was. I think it was the guy that's in the Mandalorian. Um,
Uh, no, I haven't seen it,
oh,
but I
yeah,
don't get his name.
can't remember. I, yeah, the guy that plays Boba Fett. That's right, Tamura Morrison. He's a
Oh, Tamira.
Kiwi,
Oh yeah,
so
he's
that makes sense that he was there. But I
yeah, he's
saw
from New
him.
Zealand.
Yeah, I saw him speak.
How tall is he? Like 5'7"? He's quite short, isn't he? So he could fit on the camera.
Yeah, he's I think like 1.75. I think.
Okay, around that. Okay, cool. Going back to the tangent aside, going back to the the thread. Um, Next one from Primetime Mime, which very good.
Quite a
I don't know
long
about
one.
how random it was, but I was in a bathroom at Jack in the Box in Hollywood when they were performing at a place called Space 1520 or something like that. I came out, my friends were frantically yelling at something at me. The doors for the bathroom lock. You have to wait. The doors for the bathroom locked, and you have an employee open, and it was my friends trying to tell him to hold it for them. I couldn't tell what they were saying, and they were overwhelmed by the. I don't know where this is going.
This is neither.
Yeah, this is wild. But I had a super high anxiety after coming out of the bathroom to my friends frantically yelling and okay. Seeing most
Uh,
of the band. I think John was the only one missing, so I went
oh,
straight to the
that's
employee.
interesting.
They had taken. I should have got you to read this one. They had to take turns, so we chatted, and they signed a few records. My body got from how do you say this?
Amoeba,
Amoeba.
amoeba.
Amoeba. That's right. Yeah, the record store. They have that. There's a show on YouTube, don't they, where they like people buy albums, like physical ones, in the store. That's
Yeah,
right.
because like they're quite a large store, if I remember correctly. Like in terms
Hmm.
of like just notoriety and just size in general.
I definitely heard of them.
Yeah,
So that
they
was cool. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna say that, yeah, on Instagram it looks like they've got like 290,000 followers.
Okay, kind of popular then. Good place to if you want to
Yeah.
get some vinyls or CDs or some tapes. No, they're not selling tapes. Yeah, that was cool. Thank you, Prime Time. Thank you for that.
Met them at a pizza joint. Met them at a pizza joint in Jackson. What was it? Jackson, Wyoming.
Wyoming, I want to say.
Noticed them sitting in the back and told my girlfriend at the time they were sitting at the time. Told my girlfriend at the time that they were there. She asked if I was going to talk to them, but I couldn't build up the nerve. She took it upon herself to say hello, and they offered to have us sit down and chat. Spoke for maybe 10 minutes about skiing in their show the night prior, and then let them go about their night. Anyway, it was open mic night at this joint, and upon hearing they were in the back, one of the gals in our group asked them if they would perform a song. They kindly declined and bought her a drink on the way out. Cool cats.
Well, yeah, you had to try. You had to try. I think
Yeah,
it
worth a
was worth
shot.
it. Yeah. This next one from Lawrison. I've seen John out in the wild at Edgefield a few times. Quinn was there one of the times. Never had the courage to say anything though. And then replying, Rallia,
From the
which is
man
John,
himself.
the man himself, come up and say hi next time. Francis loves it there, which is great. That's great. Hopefully, the
Yeah,
Lawrison, you get if you are listening or not. Hopefully, you get to meet up with the band. No, it's cool. Go see them. They're pretty chill by these comments. And
yeah, yeah,
would
yeah.
you if you want to read that?
Yeah, I can do that as one more, I guess. In 2006, my friend Tiffany was either dating or wanted to date some guy she brought back to our apartment in Troutdale. I remember nothing about him in particular or his name. He wasn't there very long. But later she said, yeah, the band he's in is changing their name from Anatomy of a Ghost to something fucking weird. It's like PortugalTheMan. And then we laughed about how silly that was. I wish I could ask Tiffany who the guy was, but she moved back to Alaska and no one has heard from her in years. Who could it be?
Wow, wow, that is wild. That could be any of them,
Yeah,
really,
that
couldn't
is
it?
like,
Wow. I
that is quite the story.
that is quite the story. If that is true, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying it isn't, but if that is true, wow.
Yeah,
That
wonder
is
who
that
it
is
could be.
something. Okay, okay, there we go. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you everyone for writing into the Reddit thread. Keep posting there. It might be good. You never know. I also did question. I did say if any of the band members have seen each other in the wild, not even like on purpose. But that would have been cool. But apparently not. They all know where they're all going at all times and avoid each other when necessary. So that's cool. Thank you to everyone for putting that out. That's kind of the main news topics that I wanted to gather, Dylan. But we're here mainly almost an hour in. We've not really talked about it, but ULU Selects or ULU Selects Volume 2. It's out now. It was shadow dropped. Yeah. What a weird.
I
What a
mean,
weird.
yeah.
I say shadow dropped, as in like just no marketing. I think we heard it was coming out Thursday
I think,
morning.
yeah, there was a post about it saying like, oh, it's gonna be coming out like soon, and then like it kind of just like dropped. I wasn't expecting it to be 4 tracks either,
No, I wasn't
even
sure
though
what to expect. Yeah, I'm right
yeah,
there with you.
got
I
cool album art as always.
Yeah, so pretty cool album art. It's the body of a person, the eyes. So the two eyes are the letter U's and the nose is an L, so that's where that comes from. And then the teeth say selects volume and then 2. Yeah. So it's been kind of rumored that they've been trying to put out new music for a little while, Dylan. I think the band have been putting out a lot of like little videos of them in the
Yeah.
studio. We've seen Kane has been back recently. Kane Rashot. He's kind of back working with the
Well,
band.
I saw Jason like was even like in a couple like photos as well.
Jason's around as well. They've got kind of the
Yeah.
dual drummer at the moment. Like maybe one's like an acoustic drummer, one is the main drummer, or kind of taking turns. Because yeah, Jason's back. He's reappeared. I will say that Zach in recent pictures has not reappeared. He's still on machine
No, I would
hiatus.
say
So
I'd say at the moment, yeah, he's probably mainly been focusing on the fly fishing.
yeah, but he seems to be having a lot of fun with that. So
Yeah, and I mean,
there's no there's
yeah,
no pressure, I would have thought, to come back at the moment.
yeah,
Obviously, I
for
think
sure.
obviously we'll get into it another time, but like there'll be a day where he'll probably come back, or it'll make it clear like, no, actually I
I
do
mean,
want to
I
just
feel
keep
like
doing this full
yeah,
time.
I feel like people come and go, like, and that's what I mean. Jason has come and gone, and like that kind of just happens. I feel like
Zach's reason was a little bit more
yeah,
medically
yeah,
induced,
because of his
like
injury. I yeah,
yeah,
and I remember reading about yeah, I read an article about it. Like I think did an interview in that, and then there
yeah,
were just
he's
other things as well.
it's also a lot of like he's also had trouble with drinking as
Yeah,
well. I think
yeah, I
Eric's talked
believe
about it as well, now being sober a couple of
yeah,
years.
yeah. In the interview I read, I remember like there were various like members of the band like in relation to rehab and that kind of thing. I mean, touring life must be pretty tough.
It's absolutely it's a lot tough. I would have thought you've got to have a certain
Yeah,
psyche about you. It's an endurance test. You've also got to keep the energy high as well because you don't want to be doing 20 shows and by about show 4 you're like, oh, I'm a little tired of this. You need to
yeah,
keep the so you
because that'll
basically
rub
need a
off on the
rolling party.
performance.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah,
Over talked him.
I was gonna say yeah, because if by the time like if you're say on show 4 of 20 and you're already burnt out, that'll rub off on the performance itself, and like people generally will like pick up on that. I feel.
Yeah, I absolutely think you're right. Yeah. So obviously band members, I'm not here to like say who should be where or here. It doesn't matter. Like the shows are the shows, and
Yeah, for
it's kind
sure.
of it kind of feels a little bit more open a little bit at the moment. So
Yeah,
as
yeah,
long
I'd
as
say
people are
so.
working, I think we've seen Nick has come back and he's working with the band again. Nick, is it Nick Hubbard? I can't remember his name. Nick Hubbard, and we've had other members anyway, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about ULU Selects. But anyway, so there's been a bit of marketing. They have been kind of teasing. I think John's mentioned that there's kind of some not leftover tracks, but some extra bits and pieces. We
Yeah,
just had
I think.
Viz come out like a
Yeah,
couple of months ago as well. So
yeah, and I think I remember at the time it was mentioned that was recorded. I think at like with a bit of leftover time after when they recorded Chris Black. I think it was. I think
mhm.
that's when that track was recorded.
Yeah, I think I remember something familiar along those lines. But so how have you obviously we've had Chris Black. How was your kind of post Chris Black? Were you itching for another? I mean, we'll always take
I
more
mean,
music, but were you itching
yeah,
for more?
yeah. I mean, I always like again, yeah, I always take more music. I mean, I can't believe it's already coming up on almost like 2 years since like Chris Black. Like that's crazy. Is it this month actually? It'll turn 2.
Yeah,
And I mean, yeah, the album. Considering how long there was between the previous like albums and that, I've been pretty happy just with the album. And then there was Glide at the start of the year with Naked. Um, that was good as well. Good summer track. Been yeah, listening to that, listening to a bit of Snack Time as well, and that's kind of kept me through, I'd say.
so you're saying
And
snack
then
time has kept you fed? Okay, excellent.
yeah, I'd say because they released they released a single earlier in the year as well that was quite summery. So like between that song with Naked and the Snack Time song, it was good for the summer. And then this EP, I mean, all 4 tracks are fantastic. I remember I got this. There was a anime music video they posted on their story to that song, like last year. It was only a snippet. I can't remember how long it was, but probably less than a minute if I had to guess.
So you're pretty content, happy to get it. Kind of in the
Yeah,
I'm a likewise situation of I wasn't expecting another album really. Maybe start to hear about it next year if I'm honest. To be honest, like
yes,
2026, maybe for
yeah. I was
27.
expecting like a couple of years.
Yeah, they've just had a 7 year seven, 6 year break between albums. So I kind of thought it'd be a few years less, but years anyway. So to get an EP, 4-track EP, 2 years, pretty much 100+ weeks later, kind of feels good. It's nice to have something in there. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest. When I saw it on Thursday, I was like, oh, really? Oh, cool. I thought it was just going to be like Glide and Viz, and then that would be it for the summer, and then they would just do these kind
Yeah.
of European shows and Canadian shows, and then kind of get back to writing in kind of in the autumn time, or the fall, as North Americans call it. But yeah, so it came out Friday or yesterday as we're recording, and I've listened to it. I think I've listened to every song like 8 to 10 times already. Obviously listened to Viz quite a bit beforehand. But what are your kind of initial thoughts? Have you listened to it a lot, a little? How you
Yeah,
find?
I've listened to of the tracks. I've listened to Viz the most just because it's been out longer. I mean, and that's even indicative, like based on the streaming numbers. But I'd say since it's released, I've been listening to all four of the tracks a decent amount. I'd say probably with primarily listening to I Got This just because I like finally being able to hear it after because it's the only one. Mine is Viz, which was like there's been stuff about that for a bit. I Got This is the only one I heard like some amount of time before it was like released.
Oh wow, I didn't
Like
know this actually. Oh cool. Tell us the story. Did you hear it at the Bluesfest show or like online somewhere?
I
Or?
got this just through the Instagram the AMV they posted on Instagram. Yeah, I found on May of last year, just on their story, they posted a minute snippet of it.
Oh wow, I must have completely. I don't listen to Instagram with audio on. I probably should have done, or maybe I just forgotten. I don't know. Could have been too maybe I just didn't remember. Yeah, okay. Was it any of the parts where Francis is kind of saying "I got this"? Or
Um,
I'm guessing that's her.
yeah, that is in it. I believe it might even just be the first minute of the song.
Oh right, okay. So I wonder like how long they've been sitting on these tracks for, and they're just like, yeah, this feels like a good
Yeah,
time. They're produced, they're ready to go, they're prepping music videos. Hmm. But yeah, what do you tell us how you feeling about them?
I mean, I like them. I personally, I really like all of the tracks, and I'd say between across the four tracks, you've got like each one. I feel like's got a bit of a different sound, which I like. Like Viz is quite heavy. It's almost a bit like I'm trying. I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost a bit heavier, a bit more like slightly grungy at times. Whereas I got this as like, I mean, it's got that like, I'm not good at describing music.
No, it's fine.
Um,
No, it's a lighter tone, isn't it? It's a little bit more upbeat
yeah,
and
which
um.
I'd say Silver Spoons is also like lighter as well, like
What do you think?
musically speaking.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I mean, just going through the tracks, obviously, I probably have listened to Viz now the most because it's obviously we've had it for a little bit longer. Already, that's already released. Silver Spoons, which is the second track featuring Lucius. A lot of people seem to like this one actually quite a bit. Kind of feels a little bit
Yeah,
more. I'm not gonna say old school Portugal the Man, but closer to that kind of style. But kind of, I don't know. There's something about this one. It's
yeah.
very good.
Even
Yeah.
melodically, yeah, I'd say it's like to me the vocals on it, like, and the way it kind of flows reminds me a bit of like that era of like In the Mountain and the Cloud or like Endangered song.
Hmm. Oh, okay. You're bringing up the endangered song. Let me
Yeah,
bring
I
it up
mean,
just to go through it. But like Viz, I think is a pretty good track. I think we're pretty happy with that one. I'm enjoying that one. Silver Spoons, Big Boy Bogota. Um, yeah. The first. No, we've had tracks previously where there have been different words in different languages. Obviously, noise pollution. There's French in there with Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
yeah,
and in uh I think it's track 3 of Chris Black Changed My Life. Welcome to America. Or sorry, Thunderdome. There's a little bit of Spanish in that one as well, but this one
yeah,
it is like 50-50 English Spanish. So or
yeah.
Colombian. I'm guessing that's what Bogota part is. But this one, 2 people on it: Francesca Valenzuela and Esther Romance. Bit of a Latin flair on this one, obviously, with the 2 Latin.
Yeah,
Well, at least Francesca as well, and kind of different. Kind of different. I'm kind of,
yeah.
I enjoy it, to be honest. I mean, there's some interesting words in some of these EPs. I mean, I brought it up in the Discord about, like, you know, sucking the titty, and I'm like, okay, John, okay, I don't know. But yeah, that's track 3, Big Boy Bogota, which I've never heard of Silver Spoons or Big Boy until yesterday. I had not
I
heard of it previously. These
I
are new
had
tracks to me.
vaguely heard of Silver Spoons being mentioned and like some elements of it, but I'd never heard any of either of the 2 tracks.
No, okay. We're in the same kind of boat then. Okay, that's
Yeah.
good then. Yeah, but again, these are just kind of our initial, like, oh, it's out. Wow, this is great. So, and also I got this featuring Paul Williams, who kind of has excerpts of the last track on Chris Black, "Changed My
Anxiety,
Life."
clarity.
Anxiety,
Yeah.
clarity. Thank you. References to the Disneyland line in there as well, which is very funny. Mentioning Francis on vocals as well. I believe it could be. It could just be another child, or John with the decoder, or a different voice changer. I don't think so. But yeah, that's cool that she's involved. That's cool. Also, I've noticed with that track and Big Boy, a lot more xylophone action, or like that xylophone kind of sound, like that kind
Yeah.
of almost like, imagine like a skeleton noise, like that kind of
Yeah.
ding 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 ding. Yeah, I quite like it. Like experimenting with different instruments to get different sounds. It's good. It's cool. Go for it. I think especially with the EPs as well. It's, this is not your main album. Go experiment a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to.
Also, one thing I will say is I'm curious what's volume 1? Because
uh oh,
this is volume 2. Is there
I
volume 1?
I remember we had an EP or something. It definitely wasn't marketed as heavily or given as much hype as this, but they must have done a volume 1. I'm just trying to rack my brain and think when they did do it. They must have done it. Maybe potentially before Chris Black. No, it couldn't have been. But this kind of feels like
No.
John's. I don't know. I thought it would be somewhere online. I've
Yeah,
definitely
because
seen the volume 1.
in terms of that namesake, I feel like this volume is the first time I've seen this specific like naming convention used by them. Although if you look on the album cover, it's got the little like creature and the K, and it's '08 in the like. How do you say that? Connect?
Nick Broadcasting.
Yeah, so it's '08 in that because there's been, I mean, a couple of those already, with '001 being the performance at I can't remember where it was. Royce Hall, I think.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then there was the yeah, there's been a couple. Yeah, '001, and then the 7-inch that was there was a 7-inch record that's '06.
Okay, so they are definitely using this, and I was talking with Steve from Vendetta, as he goes by online.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like this is John's like little experimental publishing arm, like to get stuff out there a little bit quicker, because definitely gives off the vibe of like he wants to get stuff out quicker. He's not happy with 6-year waits in between things. Obviously, things happen. You can't always just do what you want to do, but
Yeah. It
this kind of
feels
feels like
more
his.
almost going back to like more independent, like, because
Yeah,
even like the records are like not on label and stuff. Like I don't think they are anyway, to my knowledge.
well, we've had a day, so don't worry.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean like
expecting
for
perfect day.
the '001 record, I think is like classified as not on label
Yeah,
because and like there's no mention of anything on it.
no mention of it. So I feel like this is an opportunity for him or the band to release stuff a bit quicker. We've obviously got this EP. We've had Glide out as well. I know that's a feature thing. Yeah, just to get tracks out. I mean, he's got loads of ideas. We always hear about like the album worth of ideas that just gets not used after Chris Black or after Doomin' and Gloomin', which I'm sure you've heard about. Got to mention it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy so far. I'm enjoying the ULU Selects Volume 2. I was not expecting this. Obviously, I've heard Viz, but the other 3 tracks I haven't, so these are new to me. I'm enjoying them. I would say so far, I think I'm enjoying Big Boy. I think I'm enjoying the Big Boy Bogota the most, just because it's so different and just a little bit of Latin flair. I'm kind of feeling it at the moment. Kind of feeling it. I have to admit, I got this. I'm not loving. I think it's okay. Obviously, this is like I might turn to love it. You never know. But at the moment, I'm just not. I'm not 100% sure. It gives off a little bit too. It's a little bit too kids pop. I don't know. It's a little bit too happy for me. And
I'll be very curious to see how the song, like, how they all kind of sit.
Yeah, well, with other people's opinions and things like that. Like I'm hearing a lot of love for Silver Spoons off the gate. Like again, we are like a day out, so that could change. But like, listen, I'm happy to have new music. I'm greedy. I'll always take more. So if they were to try an experiment, I'm happy to eat at the dining table and try it out. So especially with the way music's trying to kind of transform, then it's kind of you go to streaming first, and then if they can sell vinyls as well, that's great. You make a little bit more money off that. Touring, yeah. If that's the way it's got to be, happy to have more music. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I called it ULU Selects, Dylan. I don't know why. It just tickled me. I was like ULU Selects.
I mean, they're 4 all strong tracks. Like, I mean, I still personally think Viz is probably, at least at the moment, my favourite. But again, it's kind of had the most time to sit, so it's got, I feel like, an advantage in that kind of standpoint.
Well, excellent. Yeah. So ULU Selects is out now. Go listen to them. I did notice something as well. 3 of the 4 tracks having features as well, which I noticed that kind of since the launch of Chris Black, features are kind of a lot more prevalent. John's always working with other people, collaborating, and vice versa. So it's cool to get different ideas and perspectives working on the music as well, especially as things are a little bit more in-house as well. You mentioned Unknown Mortal Orchestra earlier as well, another feature of the band. Like, it's cool to have. Try it out. You never know. One of these, it's worth playing around with. So I'm again happy to have new music. It's going to be in the rotation. I'm going to be listening to it for a little while longer. So, but yeah, happy to have it. Do you have any final thoughts for ULU Selects or?
Oh no, I'd say. I mean, I feel like we've kind of said what there is to say about it so far. I might be curious to see how it like sits in with the rest of their discography. Maybe gets played, like see if it gets played live.
That's a good point. Any of these, I mean, because Viz has been played live a little bit already. So.
Yeah, I think this is probably the easiest one to play live due to its lack of features.
True. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, ULU Selects out now. Go give it a listen. I think all the tracks are 3 minutes something and change. So
yeah,
won't take you long. Go listen.
Viz is the longest track, being 3 minutes and 45, and then Big Baby Bogota is 3:06, being the shortest.
I noticed a lot shorter songs with Chris Black, and now it's almost like just getting a good loop, getting a song, building out from that way. Like we used to like 4 or 5 minute songs, kind of like the Evil Friends era, but like
and then even with stuff like Sleep Forever being that bit longer again.
Yeah, and like some of the older stuff as well, creeping up to like 5 minutes on like Censored and Waiter and old stuff, but
yeah, because Sleep Forever is 6:20.
Is that the longest song? I think that one is, isn't it? Unless you count
Like
like
in
Oregon
terms of
City stuff.
studios, yeah, in terms of studio stuff, it might be. Anxiety Clarity is 544.
Is that really that long? I
Yeah,
had no idea. Oh, right. Hmm. But yeah, ULU
yeah, and
Selects
then
out now.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of shorter songs. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd say I think we covered that all right. I think we kind of gave our like initial impressions. Happy to have it. Always happy to have new music. But and again, I'm going to say thank you, Dylan, for coming on today. A little bit of short notice. We've kind of been talking recently. You wanted to kind of tell us about your experience
yeah.
about the Australia show. Do you want to mention anything more about like your experience about the show, like what tracks or anything? Was there anything else you want to like
Oh
not
yeah,
get
I
off
mean,
your chest, but
I can
yeah, I want to hear.
talk about the set list. I'd say it was a very smart set list. They played like I think 5 tracks from Chris Black, and then they played a fairly like I'm trying to pull up the set list while I'm talking, but yeah, they started off with this kind of medley, and then that went into heavy games, and then like Grim Generation and that kind of thing. They played one song from Waiter, being
Oh.
Marching with Six. That was a welcome surprise. They did a they Yeah, in the middle they did do a medley with like For Whom the Bell Toll and that kind
Oh,
of
they're playing
thing.
that in the middle. Okay, okay. They
Yeah,
normally would start with that, but that's cool that they tried that in.
yeah, there was two
Marching?
medleys. It was like at the start it was like one medley that both were kind of heavy medleys, but they were like spread throughout the gig, and then I mean, they ended with Feel It Still, and then they did Live in the Moment into Once Was One into Someday Believers, which I honestly think of their live stuff is probably one of my favorite like sets of like a track, because the way the bass gets done at the end is like really good in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lovely little the way they can like tack off, join the songs at the end
Yeah.
as well. Today, the way they flow as well. They just kind of jam between. Did they like stop or was it very like flowing?
Uh,
Very
it was very kind of there was a bit of talking. There was not much, I'd say. It was kind of just mainly playing, and then just as they were playing Live in the Moment, John was like, "Okay, thank you so much for coming. This is going to be our last song. Thank you for supporting live music." And then they kind of played
ah.
that, and then it ended. And then yeah, they went off stage, and then at the front, like there was a guy with a sign that said "Pick, please." And then one of the not one of the band members, but one of the like I assume touring musicians came back and threw gave out the set list and threw some picks, which is how I got the picks. And then I get because he was with the band at the time. Red Ray Frazier put on a very good performance with Champ and like
Oh,
other
okay. Oh, cool.
performers.
Shout out to Red
Yeah,
Ray.
because he
Yeah.
takes the place of he who was it in Champ? I forget. Edgar Winter. I think it's Edgar Winter.
Yes, Edgar Winter.
Cool.
Well remembered. But yeah, so Red Ray was it now. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then this was kind of like I mean one of the performances where it was noted that Zach wasn't there. Everyone else was. I mean, I think yeah for touring musician, I think for drummer and bassist. Well, apart from when Eric played a bit of bass, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. I've noticed that Eric and Kyle haven't popped up in the most recent
Yeah,
footage. I'm just wondering, are they on break? Is this just something
yeah.
that like
I'm not.
John's kind of been
Yeah, I'm
working on
not
separately,
sure.
or no?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see that because Eric and Kyle were there when I saw them.
Interesting. Interesting. Again, the open door that is Portugal the man, coming and going. But yeah. Oh no, cool. Glad you had a good time then. You said you flew
Oh,
out
yeah, it
there.
was a
You made a
fantastic show. Yeah, went over Easter, made a trip out of it, and stayed for like a couple days after as well.
before you even knew you'd be moving much closer later the
Yeah,
next
that
year.
was. Yeah, that wasn't even in the talks at that point.
Not even in the talks. Well, no, I'm glad you had a good time. It's always good to hear them. Good set, good set. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them as well one day as well when they eventually come over. So I'll let you know what that one's like, and maybe I'll hold up a sign that says "Pick Please" as well at the front, and
I
maybe I'll
reckon
take a
it'd
phone
work on
call
the
at the
side.
back during a Evil Friends song as well, just to really just to get the vibe. But no, glad you had a good time. But yes, we have one more. I'm not even going to call it a topic. We've got the PTM Song Game.
Yeah.
So we did this last time. We were talking about it beforehand. You were feeling kind of confident. How we feeling?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, feeling okay about it. I guess it's potentially reliant on which track it ends up being, just because some of their albums I
Hmm.
know better than others, but be curious to see.
But yes, for anyone who hasn't heard or listened this far or beforehand, it's basically 20 questions, but 10 because It's tougher for every
Yeah.
Portugal the Man song. It's one. I picked one of them. It could be from any of their catalogue, which is now getting bigger. It's now gotten 3 tracks bigger this weekend, so it's getting even tougher. You've now got to ask, is it on an EP? Wow, gotta think about that. So yeah, could trick people out with that. Could be very evil. But yes, 1 track from their entire discography. Yes or no questions, 10 of them. A couple of good hacks would be like, have we mentioned something like the album or the single or whatever? Have
Yeah.
we mentioned it today's episode, or kind of whittle it down by albums? But you did this before. Do you
Yeah.
remember what? Do you remember what song it was that you
I
remembered or
believe
didn't
it
remember?
was I know it was off Waiter. I believe it was.
Stables and Chairs.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Tables and Chairs, I think.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one, especially with you know it's older than you are, so
Oh,
not quite, but
not quite, but
not quite, but close.
a bit younger than
Get
me.
them digging. But yes, if you were to take us away with your first question, and
Okay,
off you go.
was it released in 2010 or prior?
Yes.
Hmm. Okay, so that splits. I mean, that means it can't be the EP.
Oh, it can't, can it? Not that EP.
No, I guess it could be. I might as well just ask it just to eliminate like,
Get the question
was
out of the
it? Yeah, was it released like? Is the song featured on a studio album?
Yes.
Okay, so that means it can't be anything like any single, or it can't be It's Complicated. Would you say it's one of the more popular songs on its respective album?
In terms of like viewership and
With
stuff,
it, yeah,
I would say.
within the album.
I mean, this is kind of. Can I give a firm yes or no? I would say no. I'm going to say no, but obviously take that with a little bit of
Yeah,
salt. But like, I would say not
yeah,
as. It's not like the Feel It Still kind of. It's upper
yeah,
echelon. It's not Purple, Yellow, Red, and Blue of Evil Friends. It's not Dummy or Grim Generation of Chris Black. It's not one of
yeah.
those.
Has that album been talked about much in this episode? I
I
mean,
think
that's
we
potentially
have.
it's.
It has been mentioned, so I'm going to say yes.
Is it on Church Mouth?
The track is not on Churchmouth.
Hmm. Is it on? How many questions do I have left?
I'm frantically writing them down as you're saying them. So we have had released in 2010, studio album, is it popular, mentioned in today's episode, and then you asked if it was Churchmouth, and I said no. So you've had 5,
So I've got
you've got
so I've
4
got
more,
5 left.
and yeah,
Well,
plus a
oh yeah,
guess.
yeah, 4 then I guess. Yeah. Hmm. This is tough because I don't know if I want to go about it in a way of just guessing albums.
Well, how many more albums have you got to narrow it down by? If you can get it down to the album,
Yeah, because I left to potentially guess. I've got Waiter, Censored Colors, Satanic Satanist, and American Ghetto.
I mean, you
I
could always
don't
ask two.
think I'm.
You could always ask two at once, couldn't you? Is it on this or this?
Oh, true.
But that opens you up to being called out.
Yeah. Is it on Waiter?
It is not on Way to You Vultures.
Okay, I'm just gonna. Is it on Satanic Satanist?
The track is on Satanic Satanist.
Okay, that's what I thought because Censored Colors wasn't mentioned at all today. I don't
We
think.
didn't mention censored. Yeah, we didn't mention it. We did mention Satanic, or you mentioned it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not one of the like more popular tracks on its respective album, so it's probably not going to be like people say. Or I guess for some of them, again, comes down to the subjectivity of like, because I consider Guns and Dogs to be one of the more popular tracks, but I don't actually know if that's true.
I mean, yeah, by that, yeah, definitely not people say, I'm going to give you that for free. It's not that when you mention not popular. So there's another freebie. So how many that's 10 tracks left to pick from.
Does the song have a music video?
I'm going to... No, it doesn't. It doesn't have a music video.
Okay,
I wrote that
so
down
that means
beforehand.
I'm trying to remember which ones do have a music video. So Do You, I think, has a music video. The Sun has a music video. I think that's the one that features Zach as a sheep.
Yeah, that's Zach as Sheepy skateboarding. Mentioned that last week, actually.
Yeah.
Not last week, last time we just...
That's a good music video. Trying to think
Yeah,
what
it's a
else.
fun one. It's a good fun one. It's funny because I thought we'd be getting Viz as a skateboarding video because it kind of seemed teased like that, but it never turned into that. It was kind of here's a lot of shots of them playing in their funky studio and some other
Yeah, I'm not
bits and pieces.
100%. Yeah, I feel like that music video for Viz, I guess we didn't really talk about that, was going back to the like it feels like a slightly more stripped back, less produced music video.
It definitely does, yeah. But anyway. So yeah, what was the last question? It was no
It was the
no
music
video.
video
Yeah, I'll
one.
say no video. Like there could be there's a YouTube video of it. But there's not like a music video.
Produced music video for it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which ones do.
Well, people say did have a music video.
Yeah, that was the one
Sun.
that was a weird. I feel like Guns and Dogs might. I feel like Guns and Dogs might have one, but I'm gonna say it does.
Do you want to bring up
I could potentially
Spotify to
I can
to
Google
have all
it.
Yeah, if you want to go. I can't stop you. I can't stop you. What am I supposed to do? Oh no, you're googling.
I'm gonna go to the music videos folder and see playlist music videos. Guns and Dogs does have a music video. Looks like People Say, The Sun, Do You, and Guns and Dogs all have. So those 4 tracks on the album have music videos. Okay, so is it Mornings?
It is not Mornings.
Okay, so what do I guess? Wise.
That was your 9th guess. So you've got one more guess.
Okay.
How many tracks do you think were 5?
I've got
4?
6. I think I've got 6.
Oh, you should have said is it a minute, 3 minutes, or
I really should have talked about the length because even both People Say and Work All Day are both. Is it Work All Day?
And unfortunately, it is not Work All Day. The correct answer I was looking for was Everyone is Golden.
Yeah, Yeah,
Track 9.
I would agree with you. That's one I wouldn't consider to be as popular, but
Yeah, it's on the
it's a good
back.
track.
It's on the back half. It kind of fades right into that track. Does it fade into Do You and then into Mornings? I
Yeah,
can't remember. Yeah,
it's Do You, Everyone Is Golden, Let You Down, Mornings.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. Yes,
Interestingly, I'm looking at the streaming numbers of. I'm shocked at which song actually is their second most streamed off the album and by the margin. I would have
Is it
figured
Mornings?
something like it's people say it's first with 33.786, and then second place is actually The Sun with 21.3 million streams.
It had a music video, so that probably helped it.
True,
I would have
but
thought, and maybe they were like
Guns and Dogs, which I generally consider as one of the more. I mean, even Mornings has got 6. Like
pretty good track.
Guns and
Mornings, like it
Dogs,
a
not
lot,
nearly as popular as I thought.
like it a lot.
Yeah,
But yes, Satanic Satanist from 2009,
fantastic album.
8, can't remember. 9.
2009,
It's 9. 9.
because 08 was censored colors.
That's correct.
It was in that period where they were still doing like an album a year.
Ah, bring it up. Yeah. Yeah, they also
But
were
that,
not produced at all, and I don't think John wants to listen to all the stuff on them. They've evolved, they've
I
grown.
mean, an album a year, that's like, I don't know, that's quite a crazy, I don't know obviously when the tracks were recorded, but still that's a crazy, like, I think it's better, like, from a personal standpoint to kind of maybe take a step back and like give it a bit more time to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So that's all the topics we had today. I just want to say thank you again, Dylan. I just want to thank. Let me say that again. I want to say thank you today, Dylan. So I can't even speak. An hour and a half in. Thank you for coming on. If you have anything you want to like promote or tell us or anything like that, the floor is yours. Yeah.
I mean, I guess only really thing I can promote is, I guess, my dad's music. He's still working on that. His Spotify is minimized, spelled Minimaiz, and I mean, there's still only the 2 original tracks from last time, but I can tell you things are coming.
Things in the pipeline. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, yeah. Continue with his success. Also, if you're listening and you're from Oceania, get in touch with him. Get in touch with Dylan. Let's find those other 2 fans. Let's find them. They got to be online somewhere.
I mean, I know one. I know, like in terms of in the community, I know one other person based in Australia, and that's about it. He's actually the guy that sold me my Lords of Portland hat and windbreaker.
Very nice.
Like that orange windbreaker they did.
Very cool.
He's
Bit
not
of
based
orange.
in, like, yeah, he's not near Melbourne though.
So that means he's a 5-hour flight away then, because that country is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty big Australia. Pretty big. But yes. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you once again for coming on. I will we'll talk soon. Everyone, thank you for listening. Enjoy ULU Selects Volume 2 and have a good rest of your day, week, whenever you're listening. And just keep it real. Cheers guys, have a good one.